It's time to go over safety procedures. How can we be safe in this classroom? Let's find out. Let's start with some important safety procedures. Here are the procedures for a fire drill. We will proceed to the middle staircase. During a lockdown, there is a potential threat in the building. We lock the doors, hide, there are no phones, and no talking. I provide lockdown bags. This can help alleviate stress and anxiety. I will pass them out. But remember, there are still no phones and no talking. Here is a sample of what's in the lockdown bags. Puzzles, coloring book, notebook, whiteboard, fidget toy. During a lockout, there is a safety issue outside the building. No one will be allowed to enter or leave the building. During a shelter in place, there is a weather issue or an emergency inside the building. We remain in our classroom. You have a safety contract. This must be signed by you and a parent or guardian. A picture will be submitted to Schoology. This is required before you can participate in any activity. The safety contract. It demonstrates that you have been trained and tested in safe laboratory procedures. When you pass your safety test, you will be given a lab safety license. What is the lab license? Well, safety violations are marked by punches on your lab license. The third punch will cause you to lose your license and take a 0 on the current lab. In order to get a new license and be allowed to participate in future labs, you must pass the safety test again. What can cause you to receive a violation? Well, if you fail to wear your goggles correctly for the duration of an activity. Goggles have to stay on until everyone is cleaned up. Chewing gum, eating, or drinking in the lab. Mishandling chemicals. Putting extra materials back into the master container. So you pour too much and you put it back. Not cleaning up. Breaking equipment due to negligence. Horseplay or pranks of any kind. And mishandling materials and equipment. Leaving a Bunsen burner or heat source unattended. Your lab license should be stapled to the first page of your notebook or inside your lab folder. Misplacing your license is the same as 3 violations, meaning you'll have to take the test again. So take care of it. Lab safety begins before we even enter the lab. You have to complete the pre-lab. You have to score 100%. This will help you identify the point of the activity, the skills you are practicing, and the topic we are exploring. Ask questions if you don't understand. Discuss it with your lab partner. Lab reports. All lab reports will be submitted to Schoology first. Paper copies will be submitted to me. All papers will be checked for completeness. 1 paper from your lab group will be graded. You will all earn the same grade. You must dress appropriately. Dressing appropriately means goggles, aprons, gloves, and so on. We'll go through it. Goggles, gloves, closed-toe shoes. Let's look at each one. Goggles. In our room, they're in this white cabinet in the front. They are UV sanitized between class periods. Goggles are absolutely required with heat, glass, or chemicals other than water. Goggles have to be worn correctly over the eyes with the straps tightened so that there is actually a seal between the plastic and your skin. If you wear glasses, the goggles must go over them. The UV light that sterilizes the goggles kills bacteria and viruses, but it doesn't clean them. Okay? You need to put them in the cabinet correctly, or they can't actually be sterilized. So we will look at the correct way. There are alcohol wipes available for you to clean off the goggles. Goggles are not meant to be comfortable. That picture is a little bit unpleasant. Let's make sure that we don't have a situation like this happen. It is not recommended to wear contacts in the lab. There are chemicals, if it gets into your eye, it could get between the contact and your eye and continue to do damage. Okay? Wear your goggles. Some people are just hot bodies and your goggles are going to fog up. So what can you do about it? You could step into the hallway for a moment, remove the goggles, wipe them out. Come back in, keep doing that. Slightly annoying. Another recommendation I have is take a very small amount of soap, just a little bit on your finger, you can barely see it, and wipe the inside of the goggles, and actually it will help to prevent the fogging. Lab aprons. They are on the back of the closet door. Wipe them off after use, especially if they've had spills on them. The blue ribbons indicate medium and the red indicate large. When you wear the apron, you must tie it around your waist. It should not be loose and flapping. Gloves. There are 4 sizes of gloves available. Your lower body wear needs to cover your legs. Closed toe shoes are required, no Crocs, and the top of your foot must be covered. You must secure your hair, clothing, and jewelry, whether it's with hair ties or pins. Wearing the appropriate attire is important. You must also follow lab procedures and protocols. So be attentive. So if you are using heat, one lab partner must continuously be monitoring that. Follow all directions. Ask when you don't understand. Use things only with permission. That means you don't go into the cabinets, you don't get additional materials, and you certainly don't start without permission. Only do experiments that are authorized. Don't, I wonder what will happen if. No, you don't just randomly decide to test something else. There is absolutely no food or drink. That includes gum. Make sure you use the wafting technique to smell chemicals. Do not sniff directly. You're going to use your hand and push the vapors toward your nose. Don't use broken equipment. Tell me about it. Make sure you handle your materials with care. Follow the right procedures. And in anatomy, if we are doing dissections, we handle those materials with respect. Never look into something that you are heating, and never point a test tube at anyone, including yourself. You must keep your work area clear. So extra bags, books, and materials are not to be in those areas. We will go through the correct procedure to follow when we are doing that. There is no horseplay, no pranks, jokes. It's simply dangerous and not allowed. You must clean up. You clean the equipment. You clean your area. You wash your hands. Follow disposal instructions. You're going to dispose of materials as directed. Does it go in the garbage? Does it go in a separate container? Where does it go? You also must know what to do if there is a spill or accident. If there is an accident, notify the teacher immediately. Clean up as directed. Solids should be swept up and then disposed of as directed. Acids need to be diluted with a base, whereas a base would be diluted with an acid. Liquid should be diluted with a lot of water. Wash any skin that comes in contact, and then use additional safety equipment as needed. And we'll get to this in more detail. We have a fire extinguisher in the front of the room. In order to use the fire extinguisher, you follow the acronym PASS. Pull the pin, aim the fire extinguisher, squeeze the handle, and sweep, meaning move it back and forth to extinguish the fire. The eye wash is located in the front of the room. It is used to wash chemicals out of your eyes. This should never be needed because you're wearing goggles. However, if you do need it, this is the correct procedure. You start the eye wash, you hold your eyelids open, and you move your eyes very close to the water stream for 15 to 20 minutes. The safety shower, also located in the front of the room. This is used to rinse chemicals off your body. Keep your clothes on 20 minutes. This is only for catastrophes. The water comes out fast and furious. The drain is not adequate. It will spread around the room in the hallway. So this is really an emergency only situation. We have a broken glass container. All pieces of broken glass go into this container. They should not ever be placed in the regular garbage. There is a spill kit in the front of the room. It has acid to dilute base, base to dilute acid. It has some absorbent materials, gloves, and so on that you would need to clean up a spill. At the end of class, you make sure you wipe down your tabletop with a Lysol wipe or a damp paper towel. You should clean up any spills. Wash your hands with soap and water. That should really be the last thing that you do. Other materials for cleaning that you may need, there's a vacuum, broom, and Swiffer. There are spray cleaners and paper towels. There are buckets and microfiber cloths. They will be labeled with which ones are clean and which ones need to be washed. You should now be ready for your safety test. You must pass and actually earn 100% on your safety test in order to qualify for your lab license.